Yeah, we are not letting go of the rugby conversations. Another one, Fatcast Podcast, here at the East African Meat Carnival at the Gardens Najjera. A place where you can get lots and lots of meats. Ruben and I had some meats, but Isaac was here first for the meat. Isaac, how are you?
I'm okay, how are you?
Did you enjoy the nyama choma that you have partaken in?
The choma was good.
Yeah, that's what Gardens. It's okay. That's what Gardens does. It gives you an opportunity to have lots of meats as you listen to some Utake music. Ruben, happy birthday!
Man, I'm growing old, guys. Shit is tight, but it's good that it has fallen on a Saturday at the Meat Carnival. So who knows where the night is going to head?
Where do you want the night to end?
I see what you're trying to do, but no comments. No comments.
The man wants a happy ending.
He needs to tell us. He's just pretending. But I've seen some of his favorite people entering the place, carrying a few things that he would be interested in. So anyway, another episode of the uncovering of the facts. I think this is part 5. Part 4. Part 4. Part 4. Yes. So part 4, discussing very many things in respect to welfare and discipline. Isaac, you have been an advocate for this for quite some time.
And a victim too.
How did you become a victim? What's tell us?
I became a victim of the statement indiscipline when I fought for welfare. So it has become consistent that they move in tandem. The moment you advocate for welfare, you become indisciplined.
So now your situation, and I want to get to the bottom of this, has been, was it indiscipline or it was welfare that you are pushing for?
As I said, they move hand in hand, as we have seen over time. Statistics show that the moment you complain about player welfare, you're labeled indisciplined, you're labeled lazy, you're labeled all sorts of labels that can be attached to you.
But so, the president, we had a podcast with the president, that was part 3, where he basically said, you see, people conflate the issues together. The players also kind of claim to be scapegoated for they change a battle about indiscipline to welfare. Is that the case for you as well?
I will answer you with this. Yeah? If you look at my case in particular, where my cases, not my case, my cases, because 2014 I did the same thing. Shouted about player welfare. 2016, same thing. 2018, same thing. 2021, same thing. Yeah? And every single time I talked about player welfare, I was labeled indiscipline, you see. So I'll tell you this, there are many cases of player indiscipline. And me, I'm not a fan of player indiscipline, yeah? But that does not negate the fact that player welfare is an issue that has not been dealt with by this union at all. You see, it does not negate the fact that we are not catered to as players. We are seen as third parties to a sport in which we have co-ownership, if not the highest percentage of ownership. Because without us, the sport is non-existent. Yeah? And yet, the sport can continue without the union. The sport can continue without many other factors around, you get, yeah? The sport can continue, players will still play. I mean, back in the day, there was no money, yet we still played. Right now, there is money, we still play, yeah? And yet the money does not reflect on us, you see. Just, for example, quite recently in Mbale, I moved around talking to players, yeah? I was advocating to them, I was sensitizing them about the importance of players standing together, about player welfare. You get players having one voice, yeah? And in doing that, I asked them, how much are you going to get at the end of this Mbale circuit? Yeah? And the average, some were telling me 10K, some were telling me 15, some were telling me 20, the lucky ones were getting 25. And this is a survey of all the clubs that went there to play. So I pointed them out and I said, do you see all this setup here? This was set up here because of you to play, yeah? The stage, the what, the music, people making noise, all that was for because they were going to play, you see. And I told them that money you're going to get after 2 days of playing, you get 20K, yeah? Is it enough to even get you back to Kampala if, God forbid, the bus leaves you? You get, the team bus leaves you. And personally, I've been working and living in Ginger for 3.5 years, yeah? I can tell you for a fact that 20,000 is not enough to get you from Mbale to Kampala. And yet they went and played.
Ruben, he highlights something very critical about that amount of money. But welfare is also not all about money. What key things do you think, in your view, welfare is also could capture apart from money?
Of course, welfare is an extensive thing, but when you go to the basics, you did talk about, of course, the money bit, but also making sure that first and foremost, there is medical covered, because this is a very, very contact-oriented sport that is played, rugby. So you have to make sure that the bare minimum, that at least players have the medical cover, that in the event that either it's training or it's a game, that actually there is medical covered in that regard. But there are also other factors as well. I mean, I had a conversation with some fans, and one of them actually wrote an article talking about the fact that on top of that welfare, how are we empowering players to also be sustainable? Because sports as a career is short. Whether you take 15, 20 years playing or you just take 2 years playing, how are we empowering players to be better human beings going forward? Are there any, I like to call them big brother, little brother programs, or big sister, little sister programs, or things like that, at least the younger generation is being taught how to handle things differently from the mistakes that maybe the older people have encountered. And I think, banking on what he has said, definitely he has a point when he talks about a lot of the things that perhaps should change for the players. But I want us to kick off this conversation by me also particularly asking this one. When it comes to you personally and the experiences you've had, of course there's a lot of conversation that goes, and some coming from even the people that have been in camp with you when you were a national team with the collapse. One of the things I want to ask, do you fully attribute everything that happened to just you advocating for player welfare being turned into indiscipline, or do you think there was any case of indiscipline? Because there are some things that also came out in your regard. Take for instance, maybe getting out of camp during COVID time illegally, things like that, which perhaps also breach some of the rules that are put there for the national team to be able to function.
Let me answer you on that. But before I answer you on that, I'm going to take you back to one of the statements you made, yeah? The bare minimum. How long shall we fight for the bare minimum? From 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, bare minimum, bare minimum. Bare minimum health, bare minimum this. We've been living on bare minimum this whole time. We are tired of advocating for bare minimum. You get? Because bare minimum is not going to pay rent. It's not. And many players have given their lives to this sport. At what point in time shall we say bare minimum is not enough? You see, health, yes, it is key. You see, we should not have to talk about health. Why shouldn't we get insurance for players? That should already be there. You see, that should already be there. This is a sport where a player is one injury away from death. One injury away from life-changing economic crisis. You see, yeah? If I wasn't lucky enough to have had people who came through, yeah, my parents, my club and whatnot, yeah, the time I got injured and had to get surgery in Nairobi, yeah, if I hadn't had that, I don't think I'd be using this hand right now. And I use it for a lot of things, yeah? Some things not holy, but yeah.
on Ruben's birthday.
You're seeing it? Yes. So we cannot keep advocating for bare minimum because the sport has evolved, yeah? Currently, yeah? In the Rugby Africa Cup, it was announced that 2.5 billion was released or asked for from the parliament, yeah? And then players get $100 after being promised $1 million in camp. You see, $1 million alone is bare minimum. You see? And then you fail to give them the bare minimum and give them instead $100 US. How long shall we fight for bare minimum? Maybe to answer your main point, yeah? You asked me if it was indiscipline that led to that because you had heard from players and from people outside, yeah? I'll give you a good example. Very recently, Ivan Kabagambe came out, yeah, to give his experience in South Africa, yeah? I'll tell you this, after Ivan's escapade, I talked to him as a personal friend. He told me what had gone wrong, yeah? And I sat back and I watched, yeah, as the propagandists, yeah, started doing their role. Before I knew it, the whole rugby community assumed that Ivan was reading novels and, you get, being lazy in camp, you get. So with that knowledge, yeah, are you going to tell me that you would discredit it when I tell you that a month prior to my call-up, yeah, I had talked about the budgetary system of National Council of Sport and Rugby Union and all those other entities and how it is not right, yeah? And then shortly after, while I'm in camp, I'm chased out of camp for doing something that everyone else had been doing, yeah? And doing it for the sport, riding a bike myself to the training ground, yeah? Myself, which is not breaking COVID protocol. You see, riding a bike myself. And then when you go into the rules, they are saying, no, you should have used the team bus, yeah? COVID rules stated that everyone, including the team doctors and who, had to use the team bus. The team doctors came in a separate car. Everyone else, team manager came in a separate car. You see? So if you're really going by the rules, then all of them shouldn't have been in the camp. You see? Similar to Ivan's case where they bring in something to do with indiscipline in the sport, yeah, to cover for his tweets about Mr. Ogwell, yeah? You see? So it's called a witch hunt. That's what the Muzungu calls it.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Of course, there is, when you talk about maybe other people also abusing that protocol during COVID, maybe you have a point there. One of the things I want to maybe respond to in my recent interview with the president, Godwin, which I think maybe you'll get time and watch when you have time, he did speak of one, the amount of money that were promised for Rugby Africa, that there was no player that was promised 1 million, and actually Ivan Magomo apologized for that apparently. Second,
do you have it on record that he apologized?
Well, we have the president on record admitting that, so that is from an official source.
An official source.
Credible source.
A credible source. So
yes.
I am not a credible source. Ivan is not a credible source. The captain national team is not a credible source.
Well, the president was in the appeals hearing. You were not.
Sorry?
Yes. The president, Rugby Union, was in the appeals committee. You were not.
Was in the appeals committee for Ivan's case?
For this recent case.
For this recent case?
Yes.
So have you asked Ivan to confirm that he was lying about the 1 million?
I haven't spoken to Ivan.
So you cannot say it's a lie?
Well, we have it. I've
also had it from credible sources, which were within the national team camp, that they were promised $1 million each for each game.
He actually denies it. The Rugby Union president denies the fact that anyone was promised 1 million Ugandan shillings.
Then we leave it to the viewers to decide who they believe.
Anyway, so aside from that, in regards to the Ivan Kabagambe issue, one of the things he pointed out was that Ivan actually pointed out some very valid things, but he talked about the manner in which some of those things were brought to light. That perhaps, and it wasn't one occurrence, it was persistent in the way it was done. That the first time they perhaps thought it was maybe a bad day, and they shrugged it off. And I'm just, of course, trying to report what was in the interview. For those that want to watch it, please go and watch Uncovering Facts, part 3 with Godwin Kayango, Uganda Rugby Union president. But he does talk about that it was a persistent and also not done in the right manner rather. But also he mentions this, that out of all the players that were there, how come the 6 were able to stay and it's one person that's speaking about it?
Because I will answer you on that. Simple. A revolution is not always led by the whole crowd or something. No. Not everyone has the balls to stand up and say, I will not sleep on a mattress in South Africa on the floor. 6 people in a room when we were promised proper accommodation. Yeah? Some people are too willing to lick. I will not say that for the sake of young people watching. To lick ice cream,
Yes.
yeah? From the oppressor. Yeah?
Yes.
Some people are more willing to lick the oppressor's ice cream.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Than others, you see.
Yeah.
I was in camp with 28 other players. We were 33 at that point in time, I think, yeah? Why is it I am the only one that was taken out? Kabagambe was there with 6 players. Why is it he's the only one that was taken out? One of the best players I've seen on that field there in his number. You see? You can't tell me it's because he was not as good as the players that were there. The fact that they took him already shows that he was good, outstanding. Yeah? It is simple because he was not willing to take
Bare minimum.
bare minimum.
Now coming to bare
That's
minimum.
BM, not BM.
Now coming to bare minimum. You have that's a phrase you have thrown around a lot. Just wanted to know that if we have bare minimum, and what can I say above minimum, what would be that ideal scenario for as a rugby player in terms of welfare for you, in your view, personally? Yes.
Well, among many other examples I can give you, yeah, I will start with this, yeah. If I will first give you, let me tell you this first, yeah. Oh, hold up, Dawala, get me a Coca-Cola, yeah.
Yes.
So I will tell you this, yeah. If someone has the heart for the sport, yeah, for the players, then that person, that entity, that group of people will look out, will think out of the box. How can we help players? And let me tell you, if you sat down and you ask yourself, how can I help a player? How can I help players? You see, instead of idealism and what, yeah, you will actually come up with 100 different ways of helping players. You see, why should a player, yeah, have to come and pay at a national team game? You are part of the sport. That is the reason there is a national team. Yeah, you are part of the sport. Yeah, we are the reason there is a national team. The fact that we play in the league is the reason there is a national team. Do you know that half of the players, if not 3/4, could not afford to attend those games? You see, if those people are thinking, how can we do the best for players? Yeah? Simple things that don't even cost you money. You see, let us give them free entrance to the games. You see, let us make sure that, you know what, we are dealing with this number of sponsors, A, B, C, D, yeah? How can this sponsor directly impact a player? Yeah?
Yes.
Let these players be part of the advertising system of these sponsors. Let these players do this, you get? Even if you don't have money, and we know that you've picked 5 players from Hippos, 3 players from another club, 5 players from another club, and they are all getting directly from these sponsors we have in marketing, in what they're appearing in adverts, yeah? The way Mongas did it, and their players are now in Plascon adverts, yeah?
Yeah.
We would know that, okay, they don't have money, but they have a heart for the sport. You see? But evidence has shown it over time that there is no heart for the sport in the leadership that we have. The only heart that is there is for themselves. You get? And it pains to say that we as players have got to either stand together, yeah, or accept that we are tools and pawns. You get? They will use us when they are done. They throw us aside like TP, yeah. Why should a player who has played on the national team 10 years back, why should he have to pay entrance to a national team game? You see, why? You get? You don't get
but is
that
is that feasible, considering the need to balance the avenue to make revenue from ticket sales, and at the same time, yes,
cannot manage, because right now we are 720 registered players.
Registered players, yes.
12 teams, 60 players.
Yeah.
If the union cannot manage to get funds outside the 720 players, then they deserve a vote of no confidence. Then they can't do their work.
Yeah, but because
then their
that's
marketing
the
of the sport is not working.
That's right. But because let me take you on that.
And hold up.
Yes.
Let me finish. Yeah. If they can't get outside that, then we have no reason for any sponsor to sponsor us because they'll be marketing their brand to only the players. You get? Because in a normal game, the largest recorded number of fans I remember was a Legend, were 8,000 fans who are recorded there.
Yes.
You cannot tell me that when you have 8,000 fans, you can't afford to get 720 tickets, you give them to your current active
Give it
players.
to the clubs.
Because
Yes.
if those players had not played the league, you'd not have that national team. You get? You wouldn't really.
Yes.
You get? Yeah?
But Isaac, look at this. There is the need to balance the commercial interest of making ticket sales vis-a-vis the welfare part of the players. If something in respect to welfare is completed that allows players to earn money, would you think it would be very viable to have this number of tickets given out as complimentaries?
Let me tell you
Or
one thing.
maybe preference should be given to the players.
Even if players
Yes.
were receiving money in the millions and the billions,
Yes.
yeah, the sport owes it to them. So long as you're a registered player, you should not have to pay to watch a national team game, to watch a game that is part of the sport you contribute your body to for
Yes.
free. Because I'm not paid to play
Yeah.
this sport. Yeah, I'm not paid at all. Bare minimum. You see, I'm not paid to play. We are not paid. You get? If the fact that you can't pay us and you still want us to pay you to watch the game, we contribute our bodies for free too. Then, Bana, what more do you want? We give you our wives.
No, I'm not snatching wives on Ruben's birthday. Not on Ruben's birthday. But Isaac, now, you've given the above bare minimum you'd expect. Have players
Not above bare minimum.
Yes.
Because above bare minimum, you have bare minimum, then you have above bare minimum. Yeah?
Okay, so you have given your
We
ideal
want
scenario.
the best
Yes. Your ideal
they
best
can
scenario
afford to give
for the
us.
players to be able to afford have a welfare lifestyle where they can afford the needs that they meet, rent, attending games, obviously being pulled out, a few tickets pulled out for them, and they can be able to attend, among other things, the basics like health and the like. In light of Ivan Magom's situation and Ivan as well, Kabagambe, there has been a sustained push to get players to rally together and form somewhat of a union where they can push the agenda of welfare and proper channels for players to be able to address their grievances with the support of the players. Tell us, where are you with that now? I've seen you mentioned ballet. There's something I saw you talking about. You're talking to students in Makerere, players in Makerere. Where are you right now with that?
Well, they usually say do not expose your hand,
Yes.
but I trust my hand.
We're not gambling here. Yes, not playing cards. Yes. Tell us,
So
where are
I'm
you?
going to say this, yeah? We have realized that as players, yeah, we are no longer playing the sport just for fun. You see, that was back in the day, you get? When we knew that, you know what? Yes, we are putting our bodies on the line, but it's okay, we don't need all that, you get it? And even then, there was still money coming into the sport, yeah? For many players, yeah? For many players, rugby is their source of livelihood. It's their livelihood, it's their source of income. You get? For many, and consider a considerable number. It's just a few of us who have things outside rugby, yeah?
Yeah.
But for many players, rugby is their source of livelihood.
Yeah.
So rugby has ceased to be a passion project and has become employment for some of them. You see, he goes to the pitch knowing that I'm going to train.
Yes.
If I miss training, I won't be paid, so I won't pay rent. You see, who's going to look out for that person? You see, so we decided, you know what, we are not going to form an association in line ministry, sijui what, where you're still controlled by the people who you're supposed to be at odds with, fighting for player
Not at
welfare.
odds, but advocating better for
Advocating
conditions.
better,
Yes.
which puts you at odds
Yes.
all the time.
Yes.
So we decided as players, yeah, a number of us who have been at loggerheads with the union for freedom of speech and indiscipline and player welfare. We decided that we are going to form the players' union. a labor union that is not held by the bounds of sports law and what, no. It is held by the bounds of labor law.
Labor law, yes.
Whereby we have a voice, we have a right. Because if we do not look out for ourselves, no one is going to look out for us. We have waited for someone to look out for us for years. And for years, no one has looked out for us. And unless we stand together right now, it will take a whole other 2 generations before someone can stand and say, you know what? Because by the time they are banning the captain of the national team, who else do you think is going to raise their voice? It will take another 2 generations. People will keep saying, no, we can't. They will ban us, No, we have stood and said, ban us if you must, but we will speak. We will speak our minds. We will fight for what we deserve. Because this we have earned, we have worked for. None of those people seated in those offices sweats on that pitch the way I do, the way Ivan does. You get the 2 Ivans, Kabagambe and Magom, None of those people in the boardroom sits and sweats like that. And then they come and decide how much we are paid, And after that they drive off. Then you have to sit on your car border, You see? And you're not even sure if the transport is enough in your pockets. We are tired of that as players, We are tired of players going for a game and the player asks, it is sad, Player coming, reaching out and saying, Man Rujumba, can you help me with the 10K? This is a player who has just been on the pitch, Just been on the pitch. And he does not have the 10K in his pocket to get him back to where he's coming from. Really, if rugby is growing, it is growing elsewhere, but not for players. You get? If someone is gaining, someone is growing with it, but as players, we are not seeing any growth. That's the truth.
So is the concern majorly about the trickle down from the union, from the clubs?
Why should it
to the players?
Let it pour.
You want it to pour?
Let it pour, not trickle.
Yes. Okay, so if your concern is making it pour, isn't this an avenue that you have to address with your clubs who push the union to do so? Because there's always been that concern that what are the right channels of getting this information? The president appeared on the podcast and said that the clubs are given this information and the clubs should, the registered members of clubs should be able to get this information. So I know your contractual situation, but what do you do in terms of your club? How do you get this information?
Actually, even before you say anything, just to supplement on that and to maybe further emphasize on what he has said, the one thing that you should note, or at least that he said, is their systems provide for a monthly accountability to every club, and from there, active members can go and be able to request for that accountability of money spent, because he actually broke it down. The union is made up of 3. Clubs make up the union. Then there is those that sit at the HQ, those are the actual full-time staff. And then there is the EXCOM, who are volunteers that oversee and run.
So in all that, the player is not
okay,
there.
what I'm trying to say is, of course, there's a big gap, because why isn't there a player representative or at least a players union? That has always been a big issue.
Usually go there and just fight for their own
because
thing. Those are the people they select.
You want to name names?
I can name names, by the way. I'm not afraid.
I dare you. I dare you. I said to you.
Let me tell you. When the next time I'm back to the sport, back to full-time playing. First, right now, I'm on a pause as we fight for this player union thing.
Sabbatical.
Hey, sabbatical. The guy I tackle the most is the guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But what I've been trying to say is that while you're also pressurizing the people in EXCOM and HQ, and does it raise any alarms that clubs are quiet in all this situation? Yet it is the foundation of players. It is where players come from. I mean, you're complaining about the national team, and the national team is talking about $100 per game. How many clubs get $100 per game? How come they are quiet? Or how many clubs give $100 to players per game? How come they are quiet? How come there are no guns pointed in that direction?
Okay. On the point that he brought up of there being a system, of members asking for accountability. I have no qualms, yeah, really, because at Hippos we are accounted to properly. We know that this amount of money has entered, this amount has gone out, this has been spent here. Yeah, we are now looking for this extra money because they sent us little money and they told us to wait for more money, which didn't come. So we are aware. I don't know about
aware of
clubs.
The monies that come from the union.
We are very fully aware.
Okay.
Yeah, within at least my club. I can't speak for other clubs.
Okay.
Yeah. Within Hippos, yeah, we are currently aware. At least for the time I have been there, we've been aware every single time. But with reference to the other clubs, why we shouldn't hold the clubs accountable? Yeah. The clubs are held hostage. Yeah. With one simple thing. Yeah. First and foremost, if I am telling you that you cannot get a sponsor that is like this, like this, like this, your sponsor has to go through us, or this, or that, you're seeing it? Yeah. Yeah? Then that means, yeah, you are not free to do what you want, yeah, as a club. You are dependent. The clubs have been forced to become dependent on the union. That means the money they are getting is limited, yeah? So they are forced to dance to the tune that the piper plays. You get? He who pays the piper holds the tune. Yeah? So they have to dance. Thank you very much. They have to dance to the tune they have chosen. You get? Now, I will tell you this. That brings me to a point of disempowerment of the clubs. Yeah? In club disempowerment, yeah? When clubs were recently forced, yeah? I won't say forced. Although forced is the only word that comes to mind. To adhere to the new system where the union arbitrarily chooses who has a host game. Yeah? I asked a question and I was called a fool. I asked, what is the criteria for you deciding as a union who gets a home game? There's no written criteria. You just stood and selected. You're getting 3 home games. I remember Rhinos complained they got 3 home games. Yeah? Pirates had what, 8, 9 or something? Hippos had 7. Warriors had 3. You see, how is Warriors supposed to go to a sponsor and tell them that, hey, I need sponsorship. I'm not sure how many home games I'm going to have, but just come and sponsor. You see, that is disempowerment of the clubs. You see, the clubs themselves, yeah, must be at odds with the union, and many are constantly, and that from what I know, you get, yeah? So why are we driving away from the old system of home and away, where I know as Hippos I can go to a local business in Ginger and tell them, hey, you come and sponsor our club, we have 19 home games or 10, 12 home games, yeah? So you'll get this amount of visibility, yeah? But now, how is Hippos supposed to go to a sponsor when they don't even know the number of games they're going to have, you see? So even the clubs that you speak of, yeah, have qualms, have bonds to settle with the union. See, players uniting empowers the clubs, because the few times a number of clubs have stood up. Remember when Makerere, Impis, yeah, was they refused to give them their 10 million or something like that because they missed a game, and that game they missed it simply because most of their players were going to graduate. You see, that is key. We are saying we have to empower players. When they are going for graduation, yeah, we are refusing to pay their club the money that is owed, yeah, yet they ask for the game to be pushed since they have graduation. You see, yeah? So players uniting empowers the clubs themselves, because there are places where the clubs won't step, but the players united can step. Where players will say, you know what, we stand with Impis, yeah? So let us have a shift. You know what, we need a full plan for the year before the season starts. Instead of you throwing us random plans, okay, we have pushed 7s by 2 months, we have pushed it by this much. You get it? Disempowering the clubs is what is happening. Players uniting is the solution to all the problems we have currently in rugby, at least the first step to the solution.
Okay, so you've talked about players uniting, and I got so much stick on social media for talking about fake activism.
Dialogue.
And whatever. But you see, my point was basically, over the years, I have seen so many people talk about it on social media. I've seen you write articles. This time round, you have decided to take action, which I have been advocating for. That, wait, let's put the phones down and actually do something. Because I'm all for players being better as well. So I want to know what was that trigger for you at this point that really decided to make you put the pen down with the article that you normally write and this time focus on going down. But also, I don't know with how much you can reveal. How far with the player unionization so far? What steps have been taken? Where is it now?
Okay, to answer you, we sat down as a number of players who had grown tired. Yeah, our hearts were in pain. Yeah, we were stressed by the sport that we loved. Yeah, and we had two options. Yeah, bail out and continue shouting on the side, or do something that was actual that could get some results. Yeah, and I'll tell you this. I constantly believed in not leaving the sport because you have more effect as a player saying something than as someone who used to play saying something. You get it? So people will listen to your voice more when they know that you've said it after hitting a guy on the pitch or tackling a guy on the pitch. Your voice has more essence. So I said, no, I'm not quitting the sport, but I'm going to do something about it. Yeah. So we started the process, I think, a year back. Yeah. We faced a number of issues. Yeah. But we did not give up. Yeah. We were empowered by people who kept believing in us. People come to you and they tell you, Rujumba, what you're doing is right. Do not give up. You see, and that is the thing that keeps us moving. Yeah. That is the thing that keeps us moving. You see, yeah. When Magwamu was facing all those issues, yeah, I told him personally, yeah, I told him, my guy, yeah, for us we have your back, that's the truth, yeah. We can't give up on each other, we are all we have, you see, yeah. So the fact is, we got tired. We were seated, I remember I sat with Magomo when he was going through these issues of his, yeah, and we talked and we agreed that if we do not do something, if we do not continue to push, yeah, then the next generation is going to hate us for having sat and watched when rugby was entering a hole that they cannot dig themselves out at that point in time. Yeah? As per the players' union, I can't divulge exactly where we've reached, yeah, because
Sabotage.
Yeah. Sabotage. But the good thing about labor union is internationally they are like, if you followed how labor unions have been formed and fought for internationally, yeah, you cannot block the formation of a labor union, however much you try. You see, you cannot block the formation of a labor union. How far we've reached, yeah, is a matter to be discussed with the lawyers. We are currently working with the best lawyers, the best labor unionist lawyers. I don't know that law terms. We have a current PhD student, what's her name? Very good lawyer who's helping us out. We have her firm, that the firm she works with, that is helping us out. So we have people who are helping us out, yeah, because they see the plight that a worker, a rugby player, I don't call them a rugby player, a rugby worker goes through. You get putting your body on the line, yeah, and not even being able to afford supper the next day.
That's where I was going from the legal perspective, because unions are synonymous with employment. But as you said, you're being advised. I do believe maybe you have an avenue, because ideally labor unions are majorly for employees of head. Yeah. So how you negotiate that is something I'll very much be interested in seeing. But now, for those, like very many people, you'll have some players who are against your movement, who don't believe in what you're doing. They feel the dialogue niggas route is the option, is the best option. So what message do you have? Because you've said here that we are at odds, we are at loggerheads they want to sabotage. So it presents a scenario of confrontation. Some players may not want that, they may prefer the birthday boys route. So what do you have to tell those players to jump onto your side and understand the cause you're fighting for?
I'll tell them this, yeah? And I need them to know, yeah, that we are not going to plead with people to join us.
Yeah.
We are happy if players join us. Our cause is true, yeah? There is no revolution in the history of this world that has been won by talking to your oppressor nicely. No.
You have heard.
You have to
tell him.
You have to fight for what you want. No one is going to come and give you. You have to take what is owed to you. Otherwise, they'll keep taking from you and taking from you. So my message to them is plain and simple, yeah? Whether you're with us, and we are a huge number, or you're not, we are moving. And that's fact, you see. We are moving forward, and if you get left behind, it's a long bus, you can join later. But, hey, my guy, we will remind you that you are not part of the revolution. So join the revolution, you get? This is for your betterment. This is for our betterment as players, yeah? It's not me fighting for Rujumba or Ivan fighting for who. We're not looking for big names. We're not looking for names and what people who have, hey, I'm the best in this, I'm that, I have a name. No, we are all humble. We're fighting for the player, for the simple, humble player who everyone overlooks, yeah? The one player who does not have a name and will not be listened to, yeah? That is the player we are fighting for. That is the player that is most oppressed. Because those with names, yeah, they can easily go and talk to president or who. Hey, president, slide me a 50K. Oh, this one, slide me a 50K, 100K, a million or something, yeah? Those are the little monies they are bribed with, yeah? And yet, the player who no one knows is the one who is going to suffer because of these people eating lukwe. Yeah.
There's one thing you talked about when you were saying that you remind some of them that why didn't they join?
Yes.
It gives these vibes of where were you when we were fighting?
Yes, so don't.
The revolution will be televised.
It will be televised. Do not be left behind, yeah?
Yes.
You're seeing, eh? If people are fighting for something you're going to benefit from,
yes,
yeah? If people are fighting for something you're going to benefit from, and I say this, speaking directly to you, if you know you're a leader, you're a captain in the national setup, you're this in the national this, yeah? You have an onus, yeah? The onus is on you to fight for your players, yeah? So when you see that that there is a revolution taking place, they are fighting for player welfare, of which you are affected, yeah? You have and we will back you as players union, yeah? You have every right to stand and say, you know what, yeah? We also stand against this, yeah? We want this changed. We need our players paid. We need them protected from injuries. You see, otherwise, history will look back on you harshly. You get? They will look back and they will say, hey, so you were the captain, you were the this, you were on the team when people were fighting and you didn't fight. Yeah? You waited for the results and then you wanted to benefit from the results of the fight, yet you didn't take part in the fight. Eh? You see, so we do not condone such. That's the truth, yeah? You see, this is a revolution. So you're either with the revolution or you're eating with the people who are strangling us down here.
Wow. Either you fight the revolution or you side with the oppressor. Tough times. There is no room for being in the middle.
In the middle, we know
just
what.
sitting.
Hey.
Yes. So again, still here at the Gardens Najjera, enjoying the ambience of the East African Meat Carnival. But now to you, your parting shots. I know in a way you have given one, but idea is, what is the ideal situation when that union is formed? What would you expect? Many things are coming up. We have the Rugby Africa Cup, and next year hosting. We have a new rugby calendar after the Sevens, the Uganda Cup starting, and a lot of more rugby to come. What would you ideally want the ultimate outcomes to be when this union is formed?
When the union is finalized.
Yes.
Yeah? Our very core things we're going to fight for from the very start. Yeah? The player. We are going to put the player at the center of everything. Because we're going to sit and think, I am a player. What do I need in this situation? Yeah? Among the very first things we want to fight for, a player contract. We don't want a lot of money or what, no. But put it on paper. You get? Put it on paper that I'm going to give this person 5K every time he shows up for training. Put it on paper that I'm going to give him 100K. Put it on paper, I'm going to give him $1 million. Whether it's 5K, 10K, 100K, $1 million. Let it be in writing. You see? Yeah? Because you are not obliged to do anything. Yeah? As a club or as a union. Yeah? Considering these players who played the last, they were not on contract. You see? So if any of them got injured, God forbid, during that tournament, yeah? If any of them got injured, the union was not obliged in any way to cater to their medical needs. So we want it on paper. That's one of the first things we're fighting for. You see,
yeah.
Alongside the many other facets of player welfare like medical, what, yeah? Those are the things we are putting at the center. We are saying, player, you are the reason the sport is here. Yeah? You guess we are the bosses of the sport, the reason the sport is existent. Yeah? So what can we do that looks at the player first, that caters to the player best? That, because there's no one currently doing that. Everyone else is player.
Yes.
You get? So the player doesn't count. So for us, we want to put the player at the center. Whoever we lock knees with or lock fists with, we do not care, so long as player comes first.
Ruben, your parting shot on this issue?
It's my birthday.
Get laid.
Anyway. Anyway. Yeah, contrary to what many people think, player welfare is something that's very, very sensitive to me because I've experienced a bit of it. The other side that is a bit challenging, and I had to deal with many of my challenges by myself.
On your own. I remember that when you got injured.
I understand that, and that's why sometimes I call out a lot on the clubs as well, because they're also accountable in a certain way. But anyway, I really pray and I really hope that the players can have something organized that they can come up with, because I've been mentioning one other thing, the collective bargaining agreement. You cannot make any fruitful decisions or fruitful impact as Rujumba alone, as Ivan Magomo alone. You need a collective, so that in the event that perhaps the dialogue I talk about with these people does not work, then maybe you can take other measures, but then you take them in a uniform way. Because if one person, whatever, takes the action and the others don't, then it doesn't help. It's not going to be effective. That's why I want organized, collective,
I can assure you, yes,
assertive action.
We are collected and we are many. We are a force to be reckoned. Yeah?
For us, we'll definitely always be here to give the platform for everyone in rugby to make sure that they know the truth and the truth is being put out there for everyone to see.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let's go enjoy the ambience of the nightlife at the Gardens Najjera. Help Ruben celebrate his birthday in the style he knows. With dialogue. So for Vodcast, see you as we continue uncovering the facts around welfare and discipline. Thank you.
Adios, amigos.